G'day and welcome to Kenty Blitz, your daily hit of NRL news. Kenty here on a Thursday. Got some exciting news for us. Well, I find it exciting anyway.
What's that, mate?
We've got some new caps. Look at these.
What if you only got one head, though?
The blue, not good for our Tasmanian fans or our Queensland fans, but just kidding.
Should get two maroon ones and one blue one.
Yeah, true. But well, anyway, it's blue. It's navy blue. It's not New South Wales blue.
That's going to be a backlash.
Anyway, they're available on our shop, fanatics.tv. Great quality, made in China.
Only the best come from China.
Which keep the price down for you guys because I know how much you complain about prices. So, all right, let's start off the top, Kenty. We want to make a little bit of a discussion on this Papua New Guinea salary cap with...
Story that never ends, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting because there's been a lot of discussion on it, and we want to just have a little talk about what you know in terms of what the teams knew.
Well, look, it's a grey area, was to be fair.
Should it be grey? I mean, this is a new team coming into the... Like, surely we should
Wayne
know
Bennett
a bit more
came
than we
out
know.
a couple of days ago, well, was it yesterday, day before? Anyway, saying that clubs weren't aware that Papua New Guinea would be given their salary cap tax-free. Now, I thought they were. I thought they were aware. They signed off their $4 million. They got paid $4 million each by the NRL to allow Papua New Guinea to come in, and part of that was they understood the conditions. So I said, well, after Bennett said that, I said, I'm surprised by that. I got it wrong. I thought that they did know and that they took their pieces of silver, so to speak, and off we go. I spoke to a CEO yesterday. I asked him if that was indeed true. He said, yes, it was. We did not know. So we spoke about it in yesterday's show. I was told last night, should I mention Danny Weidler?
Sure.
Friend
of the show.
He texted me last night and said, look, they did know. So anyway, I have since been in contact with a couple of CEOs today and asked them, did you know or did you not know? The answer come back is clear as mud. Essentially what it appears is that they were told, these two CEOs today said that they were. One said he was aware that it was tax-free. The other said he thinks they were made aware of it. But what they are both certain about is that they weren't told the third parties were tax-free, which was an extra sting in the tail. And that is what their concern is. So that's where the whole narrative might have got slightly jumbled and why you could sort of argue that both sides are kind of right. Because the one definitive aspect to it is that they don't believe that they were told that third parties were tax-free. And as one CEO said, it has the potential for all sorts of problems. Being the fact, firstly, they question how these players can turn up in Papua New Guinea and walk straight into third-party deals when when the managers theoretically don't have any contacts in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, just clarify that arm's length thing.
The club's not allowed to be involved in it. The club's not allowed to go and speak to this guy. The club's certainly not allowed to get a deal in place for the player. So the manager has to do that on his own bat. Now, the other clubs, all the rest of the clubs are saying, well, how does a manager who's never worked in Papua New Guinea know who to ring up and call and where the deals are? But certainly, we've already been told Luai has over $3 million in third-party deals awaiting him. The suspicion from the other clubs is that it's not as hands-off as what it's supposed to be and that the Chiefs are helping them, essentially. Now, out of that, the Chiefs say, well, no, that's bullshit. We're not doing that. But the clubs are saying, well, how does the NRL investigate that? We certainly know the government support that's been from the Papua New Guinean government thrown behind the Chiefs. How does the NRL get into those companies over there? How does they go to the Papua New Guinean government and say, show us your books?
Possible.
Well, they just can't. And so the concern from the clubs is that, and look, this is all stuff that they don't really want to talk about, to be honest, because it's, we're not, I've got to put this, we're not alleging that they're doing anything illegal. But certainly under the rules of the game, there's a lot of clubs who are concerned. And they're concerned given their own background in the game and their knowledge of the history of the game and what and how things happen in the game. So that seems to be the bit that's annoyed everyone. The clubs privately behind the scenes are railing against it at the NRL. The NRL, though, we've got to remember, will own the Papua New Guinean Chiefs. Mm. So the whole thing is really, really unclear, really messy. Very little I think, can be really proven at the moment. But certainly there's a lot of finger-pointing accusations and all sorts of shit fights going on behind the scenes. So, and I think it'll only get worse as it gets closer to the beginning, because as more and more players go there and land big deals over there, it's just going to lead to more suspicion and speculation.
Do you think it's deliberately grubby, or do you think they just haven't got their ducks in a row and they're just scrambling?
Look, third parties are a mess anyway. Now, let's remember, third parties were brought in way back when, and the argument that was used for third parties was you can't use third parties because that's an add-on to the salary cap. The argument against that was, well, no, we need third parties because players are probably underpaid, and they're out promoting the game, and they deserve to be remunerated for that. Both make sense. Then we went back and we ebbed and flowed, and we came back to, well, hang on, some clubs have got an advantage in third parties over other clubs. The NRL, and I've asked multiple times for them to reveal not who's getting paid what, but just what each club is getting paid, declaring in payments in third parties. The NRL always give this squeezed figure, right? They squeeze the top down and the bottom up to make it look like there's not much difference between the top. And I don't believe it for an instant. Okay, I think it's just, and they won't give you details of certain clubs. And when they have been pressured to do it, they put out these figures that you only got to ring up another club and they go, well, mate, that's bullshit. So I don't believe any of that. I'm cynical on the whole thing. So then you say, well, let's get rid of third parties altogether. It just solves the problem then. But the NRL's argument against that, certainly now that the players are well paid for what they do with the salary cap, the NRL's argument against that, which not this current NRL but previous administrations have argued, and this makes complete sense, is, well, if Pepsi Cola want to sponsor a player, why don't we let them? Because if they don't get an NRL player, they'll go get an AFL player, and you'll drive around Sydney or Brisbane or Melbourne or Canberra, wherever, Auckland, and you'll see
Plug a Locket.
Yeah, you'll see those sorts of ads. But you know what I mean? You'll see other codes because the NRL has forbidden their own players from doing that. So the NRL said, we want them to be rugby league players up there on the billboard, not a soccer player or an AFL player or rugby union player or whatever. And so I get that argument. But the whole thing about it is there's just certainly not enough protocols in place to if the clubs can't trust each other, then no one can trust it, right? And the clubs don't trust each other. They need to put some things in place where they're, again, this word again, I'm sick of saying it myself, more transparency for everybody. Because if there's transparency, then you can't go around doing dodgy deals.
What about this, Kenty? Up at the Brisbane Broncos, every single player in that top 30 gets a car. Most other clubs, it's 3 or 4, maybe 5. So there's disparity in third-party deals.
Well, Brisbane have always had an enormous advantage in third-party deals, to the point where Brisbane historically have downplayed how much they get out of third parties, just because they just don't want to awaken everybody and have everybody go, well, this is just an unfair competition. But the clubs are awake up to it. They know it. They pretty much accept it. And the other part to it is the smaller clubs, and I mean this from their residents, such as the Cowboys, Canberra, like those sorts of places where there's not as big there's not as much corporate money in those places. Newcastle's another one.
Cronulla.
As there are in Indiana, like the big Sydney clubs and the big Brisbane and Melbourne and whatnot. they get downplayed because the NRL go, well, that player's not worth that much. And they say, well, but in our market he is. But the NRL say, no, they've accused him of, no, you're just trying to do a dodgy deal here. And so they often don't allow them to get through some of their bigger deals, even though those clubs argue that in their market, that player is worth that much. So it is a really, really loose interpretation applied to all this. It's real haphazard the way they go about it. There's no simple answer, but more diligence in how they protect it and how they apply it would certainly be welcomed by everyone in the NRL.
So do we actually know what it is then?
Well, what's that?
What is the rule? So did the teams know
There's
or not?
There's no limit.
No, did the teams know or not? We don't know if the name.
The teams get told information, but they don't trust it. The teams get told, they go to the CEOs sit down and they get given figures. This is what clubs getting in third parties.
No, sorry, I mean with Papua New Guinea. Did they know about the tax? I
don't think they knew about third parties. I think they did know about. To be clear, I think they did know about their salaries and the salary cap that was tax free. I think that's right, but I don't think they knew about the third parties coming as well. And
the crazy
and that's
thing
what's
about this,
really annoyed a lot of them.
Crazy thing about this, Kenty, is the greatest coach of all time, Wayne Bennett, doesn't really know what's going on.
Well, exactly.
And then you got CEOs contradicting what they like. It's just
Well,
it's a mess. It's a mess.
See, the NRL operates in these silos, and everything is a need-to-know basis. They went to this model when the commission era came through because they found stuff was leaking out of the place, and they couldn't find out who knew. Who leaked this? Well, was it him? Was it him? Was it him? Was it her? And they couldn't figure it out. So what they started to do was put everyone in the silos, and you got told stuff on a need-to-know basis. And that way they could at least then minimise, okay, this is leaked. So this is definitely where it's had to have come from. And what they did, they basically went on witch hunts and tried to get people out of the joint. Now, I just look, I've got an issue with the whole way that's all run. But it's just pretty poor when the clubs don't trust each other.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one thing that the clubs know what other clubs do. They know what they do themselves. A lot of this information gets passed around because they'll sit down with a player manager and you'll say, well, we want this much money. And the club say, well, we can't possibly afford that. And we don't see how this other club over there can afford it either. And they say, well, this is what they're doing. They go, you do that too, we'll come here. So suddenly they're being told a new way to brought the cap.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Brandon Smith. He's been cleared today of his insider trading allegation. I mean, we said at the time it was a bullshit charge.
Yeah, it was. Look, it's just coppers flexing their muscles. Like he was talking on the phone to a guy and he said to the guy, told the guy who was starting, not coming on. He was named on the bench. He told the guy who was starting. So the guy went out and put $200 on him to be first try scorer.
It's hardly insider trading, is it?
Well, look, it's a strategy from the coppers to put pressure on him with the other matters he's facing as well. So that's all that is. And thank heaven someone had the common sense to see that it was just a ridiculous charge and it's now been dropped. So well done.
There's a story in today's telly by Peter Bedell talking about the NRL being in talks with the RLPA about a list of players who failed to meet their media obligations. And the interesting thing is, Kenty, we're going into this new broadcast deal and some players aren't pulling their weight.
Yeah, I think the NRL are in the right to do that. So what they've basically done is said to the players, look, under the NRL media guidelines, so when the players and the NRL sit down and negotiate their collective bargaining agreement, the players want a certain percentage of what the broadcast deal is, okay, and what the NRL's income is. And for years they argued they were getting underpaid in that area. The NRL has since fixed that up, and now they get paid more than most other sports as a percentage of overall revenue. But part of the NRL's requirement there was, well, you guys have got to do your part and help promote the game. And it's like every union negotiation. We want more pay. Yeah, we'll do that. You're always willing to do more work for more pay. Until you get the more pay, then you don't want to do the more work, right? So what's happened is the NRL players have said, yeah, they'll do that. Now, part of the requirement of that is that every player must speak to the media, I think it's every month, at least once every month. So every week players get put up for interviews, and they generally rotate them around. Some are better than others. Others prefer it. Others don't like it. They look at the clubs within themselves look after that. But one of the requirements is every player must make himself available once a month. Problem the NRL's now got is some of the biggest names in the game, Reece Walsh, Latrell Mitchell, for example, have just taken, David Fafita, have just taken themselves out of circulation and refused to do it. Now, that's not what they agreed to. The players, of which they're part of the association agreed that this would be the standard, and they said that they would do it. Now, these guys, for their own reasons, right, they've got shits with the media or whatever, have just said, well, we're not doing it. Now, one, they do earn money themselves from third parties, so you wonder how they service that. They go and do that. But the fact is, mate, I've got no sympathy for them in that respect because they've agreed to the terms. Now, it doesn't have to. Now, the NRL's going politely about it and talking to the Players Association and saying, listen, you need to fix this. Peter V'landys came out and protected Latrell some years back when he was getting vilified racially. I understand that. They took him out of circulation then. But the time's come for him to come back into it. The other fact was if the players still don't want to do it, because you can't force them to do it, that's fine. Right? It's a democracy. You don't have to do it, even though you've agreed to do it. But if you don't do it, then the NRL's just got to say, mate, that's fine. Don't do the interview, but there's a $10,000 fine. And the next month when they don't speak, say, that's fine again. There's a $10,000 fine.
Or $20,000 because you
well,
did,
whatever.
second chance.
But,
second chance, boom.
But, I don't even, just every time. There's 10 grand. Now, eventually the player's going to sit there and say, mate, for the cost of a half-hour interview, I'll do it. Save yourself 10 grand. Most of us would half hour's work for 10 grand. You know what I mean? So it's not we're all going to get our knickers in a knot over it. It's a simple fix. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But there's the fine. Otherwise, mate, go and do it like you agreed to do, because they did agree to do it. You can't cop the money, the salary cap increase.
Sign the contract.
To promote the game. Which was part of the deal. They can't say, "Oh yeah, no, they're there to play." They're there to play rugby league, not promote the game. No, they're not, mate. They're not. They agreed. They agreed to this. That's the difference. They agreed to say, "Yes, we will help promote the game." That's in the collective bargaining agreement. So if you agree to do it and you're not doing it, and you're one of the biggest names in the game, then just fine them a percentage of their wage, and off we move.
Kenty, as we come into the finals period and in the last 5 games. There's a lot of players or a lot of teams now who are out of contention. And the reason why we mention that is because the Rugby League World Cup has come out at the end of the year. And Kevy Walters has a decision to make, particularly around some of the players. We looked up last year's team when they played against Leeds. Let's go through this now, because this is the team that played England in Leeds in the 3rd test. Reece Walsh.
Won't play finals.
Nawanga Nedawase.
Won't be there going to rugby.
Tony Staggs.
Won't play finals.
Shibasaki.
Won't play finals.
Addo Carr.
Won't play finals.
Munster.
Won't play finals.
And then Cleary.
Cleary will play finals.
So 1 out of the backs.
One, yeah. And that's going to be a concern. So one of the things you want when you go into the World Cup, because the World Cup starts, I think, 2 weeks. First game's October 14.
Something like that, yeah.
Which is 2 weeks, I think, after the NRL Grand Final. You got to have players who've got a little bit of match fitness, because these guys haven't played finals. So their last game will be, the first week in September. So they're going to go 5-6 weeks.
6th of September.
Now, you can carry a couple of guys who haven't been playing. But I think out of that starting 13 in that England test, 11 of them will not play finals. The only 2.
Well, then there's 4 was Patrick Carrigan.
Won't play finals.
Harry Grant.
Won't.
Tino.
Won't.
Angus Crichton. Probably won't get picked.
No, I don't think he'll get picked. Yeah, look.
Well, they didn't get picked in Origin, so he's not going to get picked.
Yeah, unlikely.
Hudson Young.
He's going to rugby as well, Crichton. So
they won't.
That's the other part.
That's why I thought they wouldn't pick him. Hudson Young.
Well, he's out injured.
And Yo.
Isaiah Yo will play.
So that's 2 players.
Yeah, Cleary and Yo. And so you can carry a few players who haven't played for a while, right? But you need some players with match fitness in to get through the games. Now, part of it will be the draw, and whether Kevy wants to take a risk that, okay, I haven't seen the draw for the World Cup, to be honest. But if he's got a couple of dollars, easy games early on, he might just say, you know what, we'll play ourselves back into match fitness in those games. But he's got a lot of questions there. Like Shibasaki and Staggs are out of form as well. Bradman Best came in this year and in Origin and brained them. So he'll be there. I don't know what Crichton's doing, whether he's going to play for Samoa or whether he'll play for Australia, but he'll certainly be picked for Australia if he's available. But there's just it's going to take some real thinking here from Kevy to get that through, because even the bench, it's not like they're really stacked there. And a lot of other players like Ethan Strange last year, like what does he do in the halves? Does he take Munster, who's injured at the moment, will come back maybe for a week or two and then be not playing in the finals? He'll have played maybe 3 games in 3 months.
And then he chooses Mitchell Moses, who's also not in the finals.
Mitchell Moses, Ethan Strange, it's going to be a tough one. Like who plays 6 for Australia? It's got Dearden won't be playing.
Dearden will play.
He won't be. He may not make. I'm just trying to think whether he's in or out as far as finals go. So it's going to be a tough one. I don't know where they go with it. So it'd be interesting to see what Kevy does, to be honest.
Very good. All right, Kenty, it's preview time now, so now it's time for this.
Game starts in 2. Got to be quick.
You need something quick? I got something blistering. 5 for 25 from PointsBet. It's like hot sauce, but for sport. 5 taps, and it's on.
Yeah, that's hard.
Aw, thanks, babe.
5 for 25. Only available on PointsBet. Yeah, that's built different. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, Kenty, tonight's game. The Titans, $2.20, play North Queensland, $1.65. Lachlan Ilias is back for the Titans.
Yeah, they've got a good record too, Titans at home against the Cowboys. So, look, I think they're an upset chance.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Like they're playing some nice, neat footy, the Titans.
Cowboys got to bounce back, though, surely.
Well, look, that was the other part of this. Yes, we all think they'll bounce back. They've just been beaten by 70 points. You know what I mean? They've had 82 points, the third most in 118 years or 16 years or something of rugby league, third most ever. How do they bounce back from that? So I don't know what sort of scars the Cowboys have got. Like I just think at that price, the Titans are worth a risk.
Very good. Warriors on Friday, cracking Friday night of football.
Yeah.
Warriors $2.30 playing the Panthers $1.60 in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game, isn't it? It's going to be a real indication of where both clubs are at. I know, obviously, they're travelling well. More about the Warriors than the Panthers. The Panthers bounced back to form last week against Canberra. They'd had an indifferent month before that. So, okay, was it a one-off last week? Did they get up for Canberra in the Mudgee game? Or are they back to where they need to be come the finals? We'll find, I think, the answer out there. And also the Warriors, they just keep getting the job done, the Warriors. They're really impressive the way they're going about their footy. So, and this is going to be another test. I think it's going to be a real chance for them to see where they are, where they stand against the team to beat. And even if they lose, it'll be the manner in which they lose. Did we get towed up, or did we just have luck not go our way?
Be great for the Warriors to get top 2 so they get home finals.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
Fantastic. Then the other big game tomorrow night is the Roosters, $1.32 playing the Bulldogs, $3.30.
Yeah, again, look, if the
I reckon
right
it could be
Bulldogs,
sold out tomorrow night.
Yeah, and if the right, look, these games, I remember 20 years ago when these two teams were the best two in the comp by a mile. And I tell you, they were always big games. They're very intense.
The Sonny Bill days back then.
Sonny Bill and the Roosters were on the back. Look, they had the 3 grand finals in a row. Canterbury beat them in one of them. So, look, it'll be a good test again of where Canterbury's at. They have shown significant improvement, I think, in recent times. So this will be a test for where they are. They'll go after, I'm sure, the Roosters aggressively defence. It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle Sam Walker. I think they'll put a lot of foot traffic around him and get pretty intense when he's got the ball, Sam. So I'm looking forward to a game.
Yeah, it'll be a cracker. The Roosters, I reckon the Roosters are a chance for minor premiership too, Kenty. They beat the Bulldogs on Friday night. Then they face Penrith the following week on the Thursday night. And the Panthers back up from 5 days travelling from New Zealand. I
Yeah,
reckon they're a
they're
chance.
I would say more than them. I'd say I'd put the Warriors or the
Sharks.
even Sharks. Sharks got a really, not really easy draw, but of the four of those, Sharks have got the easiest draw.
Soft draw, as they like to refer it.
Soft draw.
Soft draw. Okay, on Saturday, Storm $2.10 playing Manly $1.73.
Yeah, hard to pick this one. Storm, Manly are undefeated. They're playing in Perth. Manly are undefeated in Perth. They've won 2 from 2. I think the Storm are 2 wins, 2 losses in Perth when they've played over there. Does that mean anything? Maybe not. But Manly have got it all before them. They've got to refine their groove a little bit, Manly. And
Now, immediately.
well, they haven't got time to muck around. They're falling out of the 8. They're basically in that battle to stay in touch and to qualify now. They've wet the bed a little bit, Manly, haven't they? So
it'll be interesting to see what the fans think. I know they'll be happy that they went on a bit of a run there, but if they miss the finals,
mate, they're a top 8 squad. Okay, if they miss the finals, it hasn't been a good year.
even without Turbo, the top 8.
Yeah, well, look, they're certainly not the side they are, but everyone's got injuries, boss. Everyone, every time you mention the team these days, and all their fans just go, yeah, but look at our injuries.
No, they what?
You know what I mean? But every team's got injuries. You've just got to get through it. And if you don't get through it, well, that's on you. But there's Brisbane had their injury run, Tigers had their injury run, Canberra had their injury run, even Penrith, they're without Kenny, they're without McLean. There's another one missing there as well. Anyway, I can't remember at the moment. But,
Edwards?
Edwards, yeah. So, yeah, good save, thank you. But you know what I mean? So everyone's got their injury run. You've just got to get through it when it happens.
Second game on Saturday, Dolphins $1.42 paying the Broncos $2.80. Kenty, I'm going to ask you a question. The
Broncos.
Are the Dolphins taking over the Broncos in Brisbane?
Well, look, I'm not up there, but certainly there's a lot of talk about that. There's a lot of the Broncos have always been Brisbane's team because Brisbane didn't have another team. But there's a fairly large faction over there who aren't Broncos fans, and the Dolphins have given them someone else to follow. So, yeah, if they keep going the way they are, and all this shit fight around the Broncos continues, it does them no good at all this stuff, all this innuendo and the backbiting and all that happens around Brisbane. Yeah, they've got to learn to shut up, which I think they have actually. The Broncos were in danger of becoming like the old Parramatta. Remember the old Parramatta blokes were always coming out bitching and moaning about the way, yeah, they were always. And
Brett Kenny, they always used to go to him for a quote.
Yeah. And look, and you understand their passion for the club, but in the end, it becomes more damaging than good for the club, even if it is meant as constructive criticism. And all these old Broncos who have this ownership of the club, well, it's their club, but it's not their club.
All right, the last game on Saturday night, Rabbitohs $1.32 playing Parramatta $3.30. Parramatta, any chance in this game?
Yeah, Parramatta got a good record against us, so they go okay. So from that point of view, styles make fights. Parramatta are in the fight. Cameron Murray's back for the Rabbitohs. They've got a couple others. Tallis Duncan's back as well. So, look, you'd expect with them coming back into the side, with the playoffs there, they need to keep winning. This is a game that they would pencil in as a must-win. So the Rabbitohs have to be right on point for this one. So you'd expect with that being the case, they're going to win the game. But Parramatta, they're not scared of the Rabbitohs. I can just say that so.
I've been impressed by Volkman still. I've been watching him a bit. Great player. Shame he's...
Well, you've only got to look at what he's done. He's kept in their roles this week, So he's when he could have made changes. So he has been playing well, Volkman.
On Sunday, Raiders $1.80 paying the Knights $2. Could be a great game, this game.
Yeah, look, if they get going after each other, it will be. I actually think the Knights win this game. So I know it's played in Canberra. That's going to be the disadvantage for the Knights. But
it's cold down there at the moment. I saw the temperature, -3 or 4. Jeez.
Yeah, but it's an afternoon game, which is going to
yep.
Yeah, it's going to help. That'll help the Knights. And the Knights look, they're just getting the job done. They're really impressive. Like they get injuries in key spots, and their performance last week was magnificent. And look, Canberra were quite poor last week, so we expect to bounce back from the Raiders. But I just think with all at stake for the Knights and just how well coached they are, just how they're consistent within themselves. So they're the team you can trust more anyway.
Actually, Kenty, tomorrow on prime time, I wanted to ask you about who you think will be coach of the year, because Justin Holbrook would have to be up there.
Magnificent job, yeah.
Okay, the final game of the round. The Dragons $5 playing the Sharks $1.16.
I don't give you much hope, I think the Dragons are going to have a long afternoon.
Well,
Sharks are in just rare form at the moment. They're
will
playing
Nico
really
break
well.
the record?
You know what? There's a chance he will, because I reckon a few of those tries might be close to the post. So, look, I think he'll break. Look, certainly he'll get the opportunity tomorrow, on Sunday. So they'll score 3 tries for sure. So he's on 32, Nico. The record's 35. Has Mel Masri in 2003. So he's got to kick 4 in a row. I reckon he's a big chance.
They'll be blowing from the hill.
I'll have a lazy 50 with you, was that he gets it.
On PointsBet. Can you get a bet on that?
Not on PointsBet, no.
Okay, Kenny, that's it. Don't forget prime time tomorrow with Crawls and Kenty and myself. We'll go through the biggest news of the week and then ask Kenty on Sunday. Don't forget to leave your Ask Kenty questions below. Don't forget to go to Fanatics TV to get your caps. And tomorrow morning on Chiming In is Dean Bulldog Ritchie.
Bulldogs.
Mate of yours?
Used to sit next to him. Yeah. So, he's a good fella, Bulldog.
Well, he tells a story about Chippy Frelingos and speaking to you. So it's actually good, really.
Oh,
listen.
really? Yeah, that was a sad night that night. I remember him and I after it, actually, when we tried to revive poor old Chippy. So, anyway.
All right, that's it from us. We'll see you tomorrow for prime time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.